If there's one gaming giant that has been limping like a wounded animal for years, it's Xbox. Everything that could have gone wrong has with the Xbox gaming giant pretty much these days. After the disastrous E3 2013 showcase where Microsoft attempted to push the Xbox One as your new TV instead of focusing on video games, the damage from that single night has lingered on these past 13 years to disastrous results. Game Pass was conceived because Xbox couldn't make quality games anymore because they know they couldn't. They didn't foster their studios at all, and at best they believed that they could swing their very large wallet around instead of actually addressing the problems within the company. This then led to insane amounts of spending, billions just thrown around to acquire anything and everything that they could, with the largest actually being the Activision Blizzard buyout, which hasn't paid off for Microsoft despite now owning Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and much more. To say that Xbox is cooked is kind of like a disservice, honestly, to the word cooked. Xbox isn't even like barbecued, man. They're like scorched, melted, turned into paste. They haven't been able to pull themselves out of this for years. One man was at the center of all of this, Phil Spencer, claiming to be the savior of Xbox, the man who was promised to fans of Halo and Fable. This was the guy that was supposed to fix things. But now that the news came out, Phil Spencer has left Xbox effectively immediately, as Pure Xbox reported here. And now Asha Sharma has officially become the head of Xbox, with Phil Spencer leaving the company out of nowhere in this bombshell announcement. You're probably wondering, who is this Asha lady? Yeah, good question, because Asha doesn't seem to be well known to anyone who follows Xbox closely, because it looks like this change wasn't done in a positive way. What this looks like to me is that Xbox is so cooked that Microsoft leadership just finally had enough and forced Phil Spencer out the door due to the disastrous state of his leadership and what he did to Xbox. As seen here from Games Radar, it's not just Phil Spencer who left. Actually, Sarah Bond has also left Xbox effectively immediately too, which is concerning because Sarah Bond was originally meant to be the next head of Xbox after Phil Spencer, since she worked so closely with him over the years. But as she said there, she's leaving because personally she thinks it's the right time for her to go and move on to other things. Again, none of this sounds voluntary. This all sounds like Microsoft's bigwigs sent the hammer down and crushed Phil Spencer's entire department into atomized nothingness. What's suspicious is that Sarah Bond apparently listed herself as leaving Xbox hours before the announcement was made public on LinkedIn, which then led to a lot of people wondering what exactly was going on. Sarah Bond then confirmed, as you can see here via LinkedIn, that yeah, she's out officially. I won't bother reading you her entire message because it's mostly safe corporate speak like usual, but long story short, she's proud of what they accomplished, and she's of course confident in future leadership because, well, she has to say that, who are we kidding? Either way, this marks the end of an era for Xbox. Effectively, the Xbox One to now era has now officially ended, with everyone pretty much who runs Xbox being reshuffled and replaced, except if your name is Matt Booty, apparently. Matt Booty has been with Xbox for a very long time, according to IGN, as seen here. Besides Asha Sharma becoming the new president of Xbox, Matt Booty has somehow survived all of these cuts for the millionth time, and now he'll be the chief content officer at Xbox going forward, which doesn't make any sense to me because Matt Booty has been working at Xbox for almost 16 years, as you can see here via his LinkedIn. And in that time frame, Matt hasn't exactly transformed Xbox into anything special or profitable. In fact, right where he took his position as head of Xbox in 2018 to 2023, for example, nothing got better either. Xbox, like I said, has been collapsing for about 13 years now. The Xbox One era was a complete and utter disaster. The Xbox Series X has also plateaued completely in sales as well, as Pure Xbox reported here at the end of 2025. Series X only sold 2 million units in the entirety of 2025, which is, let's just say how it is, that's pretty abysmal. PlayStation sold almost 10 million units in 2025 for comparison, which kind of tells you everything. Look, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here, but it's pretty obvious that Xbox's problems are so deep. They can't be fixed by a mere leadership shakeup this time. Actually, let's also just circle back to that Asha Sharma lady, you know, this new CEO of Microsoft Gaming, which is her actual official title, by the way. Here's part of Asha's letter to Xbox employees where she confirms that she's now the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. I won't read it for all of it pretty much, but here, just to paraphrase, look at it here. She says that she's excited for the job. She knows the brand has millions of players that are eager for good games, and she thanks Phil Spencer, which I mean, she kind of has to, because everything has to be politically correct and squeaky clean when these sort of things happen. Despite the fact that Asha is not inheriting a pristine plate, it's more like a house honestly filled to the brim with garbage, and there's also no running water. I'm sure Phil is happy because, he gets to leave and retire finally and enjoy his life free of all of this. But as a lot of people pointed out on social media already, this Asha Sharma lady does not come from a background of video games, which doesn't surprise me, and that yet another person who doesn't know what video games are inherently is now tasked with running a company all about video games. Executives are usually people who aren't necessarily passionate about the brand or anything like, the developers will be. They're just there to kind of hire the right people under them to make themselves look good. Let's be honest, that's really what it's about. But in Xbox's case, despite Asha not really being much of a gamer herself, Phil Spencer is a gamer, and look how that turned out for them. None of these things have really worked, but again, it's because Xbox isn't fostering their talent or their studios correctly. I've been saying this for years on this channel. Microsoft's entire way of doing things with Xbox has always been the same. They just keep adding things to their portfolios without ensuring what they already have is working. Just keep adding things. Don't worry if they don't do well. We're rich, so it's okay. We can just keep buying things to make it look like that we're doing well even though we're not. It's sort of like a sinking boat, but instead of plugging the holes where the water is seeping in, they're more interested in ensuring that the wheel of the ship says Gucci on it and that the sails above them look nice. But the crew of the ship is malnourished and nobody knows how to do anything anymore. It's kind of like being on the Titanic, still hitting that iceberg, but the people in charge are just telling you, don't panic about it, just keep enjoying your meal. Despite the fact that the entire thing is starting to flood and sink uh-oh, that's not good, but did you see that Gucci wheel we got? Isn't that nice? Wow, what a nice wheel. Oh yeah, we're sinking by the way. This has pretty much been Xbox's way of doing things since pretty much forever. They bought Bethesda. Remind me how that made Bethesda better in any way? If anything, some of Bethesda's worst games have been made during the Xbox acquisition. Same goes with Obsidian and more. The only bright spot has really been Forza, which consistently does well at least. So it's really no wonder why Playground Games, which does Forza by the way, is now tasked with making Fable, because it's the only studio they have that actually knows what they're doing. Halo as a brand is cooked. Halo Studios, formerly 343 Industries, is still not operating correctly despite that brand shift either last year. Need I remind you, as also seen here from Eurogamer, where a Halo art director of 17 years left that studio with an ominous message about how he will expose the studio once his NDA runs out. You really don't know how bad things really are over there, but in due time we will definitely. So I guess I could be happy, of course, for this Asha Sharma lady now that she's the CEO or whatever. But again, a CEO of a sinking Titanic isn't exactly what you want either. And let's be completely blunt and honest as well, okay? Asha wouldn't be CEO if things were going well at Xbox. Phil Spencer wouldn't just leave seemingly out of nowhere, especially by the way, because the 25th anniversary of Xbox is coming around no less, and he left before that. Yeah, things are not going well. This shakeup was not because the leadership wanted this to happen, clearly. This shakeup happened because the leadership was forced to make it. Game Pass is plateaued in subscriptions, Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 flopped last year, Halo is, not really the golden child it used to be, to say the least. And of course, you have people online all yelling that another non-gamer is basically running one of the biggest gaming giants again. So, let's now look into what exactly Asha Sharma is all about. As IGN reported here, this is how they described Asha Sharma themselves, which reads, Sharma is a former VP of Product and Engineering at Meta, that's Facebook, and former Instacart COO who is also a board member of the Home Depot. She joined Microsoft in 2024. In her email to Microsoft staff, she wrote in part, "My first job is simple. Understand what makes this work and protect it. That starts with 3 commitments. First, great games. Everything begins there. We must have great games beloved by players before we do anything." Okay. So this confirms undoubtedly 100% is that one very specific thing above anything else. That this new CEO of Microsoft Gaming they have right now, she has zero experience or any expertise when it comes to video games at all. That can't even be denied. Everything IGN just listed there has nothing to do with video games. Asha Sharma has never worked in games. She never made a video game. She doesn't know how any of that even works. And she now also comes from a background of apparently marketing and most importantly, AI technology. This just reeks of bad decision making if you ask me, not because Asha is a woman, okay, mind you. There's plenty of actually great women in gaming. Amy Hennig, for example, she ran Naughty Dog for years and actually made a lot of amazing games. And I would actually argue that Naughty Dog didn't actually get bad until Amy was pretty much forced out of the company, and then Neil Druckmann, a man, obviously took over, for example. My problem here has nothing really to do with Asha being a woman. It has everything to do with the fact that they spent 13 years or so just completely ruining Xbox as a brand. Not listening to their players, not knowing what they wanted despite being told by people very loudly what to do, and their bright idea here was to just go hire and place someone who not only has no idea how to make video games, but never worked in the industry at all to now run the entire operation. It's sort of like when Apple got John Scully, who was a former Pepsi executive, to run Apple after Steve Jobs. And then he cooked Apple so badly that they were actually begging for Steve Jobs to come back because they needed someone who actually knew how to run the company. I'm not saying that it can't work, but the reality is you should probably have someone who actually knows how to make games running a company about making video games. This is why Steam works so well, right? Gabe Newell is a gamer. We all know that. The guy has been designing games for decades. He knows what players want because he is obviously one of them. This is why Steam keeps winning despite doing nothing as the memes go. Xbox basically hired someone who specializes in AI and marketing and went, sure, that's gonna work, but the other thing I say people bringing up is that you don't hire someone who specializes in AI if you don't also plan on using that technology at the company. It just wouldn't make sense otherwise. As Asha Sharma said, according to Jeff Keighley here, as you can see, she has no tolerance for bad AI and believes that a game should be made by human hands. I mean, yeah, I guess, but either way, this feels like a really weird choice for Xbox of all things. Here's Asha's credentials, as you can see also. None of this has to do with games. She also weirdly bounces from company to company very quickly too in the last few years, which is also very suspicious. But either way, I don't read this experience sheet and go, yeah, this is going to work for Xbox. I mean, honestly, they should have taken a game dev and then hired them instead. If Xbox actually wanted a chance at making a true comeback in terms of video games, they would have hired someone like maybe Chris Avellone to become the new CEO. Chris Avellone, if you don't know, has really deep ties with Xbox. He wrote games like New Vegas, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and he knows deeply how to make rich narrative-driven video games, obviously. He also, if you didn't know, founded Obsidian, by the way, but left after Obsidian got all, well, awful and identity-driven, as we all know, too. Either way, Chris Avellone would have been a really good fit for CEO here. Why do you think companies like Nintendo flourished when they have people like Satoru Iwata leading them? Rest in peace to him, by the way. Or what about John Cormack? He's someone that people still listen to because that guy founded id Software, which makes Doom and Quake. Even Tim Sweeney, despite having, controversial takes when it comes to politics and more, I will admit, at the very least, the guy is a big nerd and a developer at heart too. I mean, which makes sense why Fortnite, which his company makes, by the way, is so successful and Unreal Engine is so widely used across the entire industry, because Tim has been running Epic Games as CEO since 1991, by the way. 1 year before I was even born, dude. He's been a CEO for a really long time. Although not every time having a game dev has worked. I mean, Herman Hulst at PlayStation right now is doing disastrous damage to that brand, so maybe Asha Sharma can shine, but either way, her portfolio says that she leaves companies regularly, and now she's at apparently Xbox. I have to wonder, how the hell does this lady find her way into the most random of companies in high positions like this so quickly? She has to know people, otherwise it's just confusing. But if you ask me, all of this is pretty much a big red flag either way. It's not just Xbox, it's a lot of gaming companies. Things have fundamentally changed from what they have been before. Before, you had studios and companies ran by actual gamers who knew how to make games, and it showed. Bungie was making Halo and flourishing, Doom was killing it at id Software, Nintendo actually cared about not overcharging you all of the time, and PlayStation's leadership cared both about big games and their smaller exclusives by keeping studios like Japan Studio around, just to name a few. These days, the industry is clearly a very different beast. It's being completely ran by people who are essentially professionals who know how to say the right thing and then just continue to fail upwards. I guarantee you that Asha Sharma's letter to Xbox employees was probably also written by AI too, for God's sakes. She also admitted, right, that she specializes in it, so who are we kidding? The fact we have people who've never played games in their entire lives pretty much in positions like this is why things are heading down in terms of profit and faith in all of these products. Like, it just makes sense. Back in the day, let's be real, it was just kind of like nerdy guys making games, and lo and behold, all the classics were being made all of the time constantly. Because these people back in the day, they had a vision, like a real passion for video games. Like, now it feels like the people in charge are like wearing these companies like skin suits. They don't care anymore, and it's frustrating beyond anything else. Asha also confirmed that her favorite games are, as seen here, Halo, Valheim, and GoldenEye apparently. Hilariously, Savvy, like always, finds her way of pushing these top dogs to answer her. As seen here, Savvy asked Asha to post her gamer tag so people can judge just how well she knows knows gaming. Insanely enough, Asha actually responded and offered her actual public Xbox gamer tab so people could just check out what she's played. And dude, the information revealed does not help Asha's case at all, because look at this. On Asha's Xbox account, as seen here, she has 2 achievements unlocked on the finals, 0 on Control, 0 on Diablo 4. Mind you, the company she now runs owns Blizzard and Diablo, so I'm sure the Blizzard developers are happy knowing that the lady who runs them now has basically 0 knowledge of anything they do with what they're making over there, by the way, which is kind of embarrassing. And as you can also see here, Asha has beaten Firewatch, which is like a 2-hour game at best. She may have beat Gone Home, which is like an hour-long walking simulator game. And she's also beaten What Remains of Edith Finch, another 2-hour game at best. Yet in Hogwarts Legacy, she has about 4 achievements, probably going to piss off the activists too that she even played Hogwarts in the first place, by the way. As seen here on her account as well, she played a decent chunk of Halo Infinite at least. She seems to like Ball X Pit. Forza Horizon 5 she also played a little bit. Microsoft a little bit. Basically nothing in Hollow Knight and 0 in Red Dead Redemption as well. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Asha Sharma, the new head of Xbox, her Xbox gamer tag is apparently, and I'm not kidding, just over a month old at this point when she posted this. This account was made in January 2026. So she's not only fresh, she just started playing these Xbox games for the first time this year. That's right, a person who has played Xbox for a month is now running the company. Very cool. Very, very cool, Xbox. This is like someone who just got taught how to cook eggs pretty much, now being told that they're in charge of Hell's Kitchen. Like, what are we doing, guys? Look, I want to give you guys like the benefit of the doubt, but this is really hard to do with this one, I gotta be honest. We got a CEO who just began playing your platform is now running things. Again, this feels like Microsoft wanted change like immediately. And they just grabbed like whoever they could that was higher up the ladder to just plug in the hole for now. I'm actually surprised, despite Matt Booty being kind of booty at his job, let's be real, that he didn't get the CEO position. I mean, at the very least, the guy has experience in Xbox and it's many layers, so if he was made CEO, it wouldn't be exactly a vote of like confidence or anything, but it would at least be better than someone that just, I don't know, started playing video games on your platform a month ago at least. I mean, can we agree on that one? Again, either way, this Asha Sharma is eager to prove herself, which, you know, I don't doubt that, but if I'm being real, I just don't see Xbox being able to turn things around in like any meaningful way. Some users were also telling Asha to make Xbox games exclusive again on their platform, but come on guys, that'll never happen. As Wolf's gaming blog stated here based on information from Alania Analytics, Xbox sold 13 games on PlayStation in 2025 and made somewhere around $500 million. There's no way that Microsoft is going to stop doing that because it's too lucrative. I mean, Forza Horizon 5 alone sold over 5 million copies on PlayStation. Numbers they could only dream of on Xbox. The fact of the matter is Phil Spencer and his Game Pass era conditioned Xbox users into really no longer wanting to buy most games due to like the whole Game Pass thing existing in the first place. There's no way you're going to tell Xbox players that they'll have to buy their games after being so routinely able to play whatever they can on Game Pass. It would be like Netflix, right? Now swapping their entire model overnight and charging you now per show or movie to watch it. I mean, that would be catastrophic on their service. But the truth is just simple, right? Xbox can't survive without multi-platform games. You may think they can, but they really can't. It just is what it is now. And I guarantee that when Fable launches later in 2026, PlayStation and Steam will definitely outsell the Xbox version by a landslide too. Even Chris Avalo decided to poke fun at Microsoft, as one user said Xbox losing their previous leaders in a sarcastic tone was fine, and then Chris Avalo would say, things are running along just fine in Microsoft's world according to Copilot. Yikes. But yeah, he may be out of line, but he's pretty much right. Look, Microsoft's Xbox division hasn't been profitable for a long time now. Phil Spencer turned it into slop with Game Pass, and then they overspent on way too many acquisitions without actually making sure that any of it was cohesive in the first place. Asha Sharma is walking into a lion's den, and she's either going to sink or she's gonna swim. She's gonna be either amazing at what she's doing and fix everything like some freaking messiah, or more likely probably run away less than a year into the job and then leave that mess for someone else to deal with. And I really wouldn't blame her, because to fix this ship, you're going to have to basically build a new one. The only likely hits coming in the future for them is Fable, probably, and the next Forza. Maybe Gears E-Day, we'll see about that one. Halo, Halo is getting that PS5 version dropping this year too for the first game, so that'll likely do well, maybe, probably, who knows. But comparing Xbox in the 2000s to the 2010 era to now, it's a totally different company. They used to be the leading pioneers on the future of gaming and had their hand on the pulse of what players truly wanted. Now they're just at sea on a broken ship. The compass has stopped working years ago. They're low on supplies, but don't worry, guys. We got new leadership, so please be excited. I mean, what could go wrong, right? Either way, Xbox is beyond saving if you ask me, and this all proves it. But what do you think? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. See you next time.